Dr. Eileen Rayberg, and also the United Way Vice President of Impact and Advocacy, and that's Ms. Jamie Bergman. And they have a presentation they're going to run through for you, and there are some handouts that I see Sabrina is passing out right now.
If you don't mind, please share.
Yeah, take one down, pass it around, you know the song. And are you all ready? Sure. Fantastic. Well, I'll let you all come up. The microphone is working, so we appreciate you all. Would you all please give them a warm District 4, District 7 welcome?
Thank you and good evening. And I'm telling you, have you been downtown lately? Have you been through the Ridge Cut lately? It took us an hour to get here. But anyway, we thank you so much for allowing us this opportunity to come and speak. And you probably have titles that you've not heard of from United Way before, because a lot of people think of United Way as we just raise money and give it out to nice organizations. But we have been changing for many years. The way we give out money and the way we raise it is based on what's going on in your communities. We collect data. We share that with elected officials. We work for you and on behalf of you, both at the federal government level and at the state house. So we're constantly looking at information regarding your neighborhoods to find out what's going on and what type of services and stuff are needed in each neighborhood. And it's different for every community. So we appreciate very much that we are able to talk about, can you hear me? Sort of? Okay. For City District 4, and we have met with most of the city districts individually and the County Commission 7, and we've met with a lot of the county commissioners too. So we do appreciate this opportunity. But what we're passing out for you and some information that Dr. Rayberg is going to share, and she was previously with the Ox Center, if you remember that. So we're very used to getting data and information and being able to analyze it and put it together. But she's going to give you information regarding both your city and county areas, and also we have a few snapshots around demographics of the community and what it looks like right now. And also we have a survey coming around. We would love very much to know what you think that you need in your community around the areas of education, family stability, and health. Those are our 3 pillars across the nation that we try to work with. So we would love very much to have your opinion on what you feel like your neighborhood needs. And so I'm going to let Eileen tell you a little bit. Now, the PowerPoint that you're getting, we'd hope to project. We're not going to be able to do that, so it may be a little complicated, but she's going to take you through it and tell you exactly what you're looking at.
All right. And if I start running out of battery, I'm going to pause to plug in, but I think I'm okay. I'm Eileen Rayberg. Just to let you know a little bit about my background, I got my PhD when I was 52. I got accepted at Cornell University, started school late in life when I was 34. I'm a late learner, and my husband was a pastor, United Methodist Church. We did a lot of work in Honduras, Nicaragua, Tulancingo in Mexico. And I have a passion for people, not in a way that says, oh, how precious they are or anything. A lot of respect for what people can do. We think that we're the one that are going to pour the resources and solve the problems, and really a lot of the problem solving comes from the people. And I bring that awareness here to United Way. I enjoy working with neighborhoods. Right now, the inner city neighborhoods are in a great deal of transition and difficulty. So providing them information. I'm all about sharing information. One of the things I learned was knowledge is power, and it is. So, we're all lifelong learners. Basically, what we have is we took the county and the city and looked at kind of your overlap in terms of you have a small overlap with the city of Chattanooga, meaning that your City Council District 4 is partially in the County Commission District 7. So what we did was this presentation sort of combines those 2 areas. And it's pretty interesting. I started down a lot of rabbit holes because all of this is the American Community Survey, which is census data. They have a new version of this, and what I was able to do was take what's called census tracts and conform them to put the census tracts that conform to your boundaries, your commission district boundaries, and look at some of the data. And I found some interesting things, but you know, it would take more research maybe to dig in a bit. It appeared you have a lot of people aged 65 years and older, and that may be a growing population in your district. And it appears that population is growing faster than it is in the city of Chattanooga, which is about 1%, and the Hamilton County, which is about 3% annual growth in those 65 years and older. And I'm in that classification too, so I contributed to that growth. Anyway, so if you have a handout there, you can see I'm a mapper. I map data. And a visual.
They can't hear you.
Oh,
Can
I'm
you
sorry.
talk real
Okay,
loud?
sure, sure. I map data. It's called Geographic Information Systems. And so what I'm able to do is I'm able to see those things not only, you know, by the census tract data that overlaps or that is contained within your commission district, and come up with some summary statistics, some information that might be helpful. So anyway, I took the for the it's just, I won't get into too much of it, but there's block groups and there's census tracts. So for the city district, it was a little bit more difficult to piece together information in different types of data sets. But I came up with some information that shows that it appears that really you have a lot more in common with District 4, and that commonality means that you are an area of high growth, high population growth. You exceed the city of Chattanooga and Hamilton County in terms of population growth. And you probably know that living here, maybe you know the characteristics of what that might be. The demographics of your area illustrate that high growth from 2011 to 2017. And what I did with District 4 was look at that, and initially, it could only get 2013 to 2017 data. Initially, it was losing population. Well, now it's kind of rocketing, you know, going upward in terms of population, and maybe consistent with an idea that people are moving eastward. And either they're coming in from other places. I could look at that. I didn't look at that, though. It's a lot of information to pull together, a lot of theories about what might be happening. Or maybe people, they're not finding the home that they want in the inner city area and coming out maybe to the more rural area of your district. But your growth rate, let me see, I gotta remember, is let's see, is okay, so if you look at the last 2 years, Hamilton County's growth rate was like 0.5%, whereas yours was like 3.5%. So, you know, you're way up there in terms of that overall population growth. The issue, though, for you is to figure out for the future, what does that population growth look like? And what I did was I began to break things down, look at demographics, see if maybe you're becoming more diverse. It does not appear that you're becoming more diverse. It's predominantly a white community. But you do have diversity, including Latinos, African Americans, Asians is another group that appears to have a high number of people in your commission district. And then looking at District 4, the City Council District 4, doesn't look too much different from what you are. So it's like, it seems as though even though it's part of the city, it really, it doesn't, it may flow very easily when you go from one place to another. It looks very similar to what what County Commission District 7 looks like. However, you do know that there's differences once you head out to Appleton area, more rural areas of your county, which may be those places where high growth is happening. Families. You have something in common with a lot of other locations. That is, you have an increased number of female-headed households with children. It's not a lot, but it's to pay attention to that. It is growth, meaning that it goes from female know how, okay, so it was 34, let me see, 760, wait, female know how, with children. Okay, so it was, the total was 526. It's now up to 1,131. So it's more than a 50% increase in your area. Not a lot compared to all other families, but still a growing population.
How many years is that?
From 2011 to 2017. Yeah, just did a comparison. Education and workforce, it's very important, particularly if you're talking about single parents, that they have a livable wage. And we look at, we sort of break it out, under $25,000, we figure, you know, earnings under $25,000, those are low income folks, and many of the single parents with children are those that are low income. So something that you might think about in terms of maybe something that your church might want to do, or you know of a family that's struggling. The single parent family is the one that is most likely to be earning, in the city of Chattanooga actually, it's around $9,000 annually. So it is an average for those seeking assistance through youth and family development. So likely that you have the problem, maybe not as much here in terms of those that have more means can move into your community. However, that those people, you know, may be sort of the unseen minority that that is struggling.
Let me see if this helps you. Okay, does it help at all?
Right. It's hard to, I start to hyperventilate when I try to say I need a paper bag up here. Okay. Another interesting statistic I found was those that are not in the labor force, and it flattens out to about 35% of those between the ages of 25 and 64 years old overall anywhere that are not in the labor force. What does that look like? You know, could be people retiring early, could be people that have given up hope in terms of finding a job. But that's another point to pay attention to. Also, the fact that those people that are likely to be unemployed are less likely to have a higher education. So education really factors in very strongly in terms of security, having a secure job, and having those earnings that are over and well over $25,000 a year. Employment. The employment rate looks great. You know, I mean, for your area right now, what the American Community Survey census data says is that you're at about 4.5%. And that's a downward slope. But then to pay attention is that upward slope of sometimes where people are not in the labor force, and figuring out why folks are not in the labor force. We have 211 information and referral. I don't know if you know about that, but it's where people can call in for help, like if they need food, that type of thing. And what we did was, with the 211 information, was we looked at age groups, and all age groups are asking for food. And what intrigues me most is that age group that's around between 35 and 55 years old that's asking for food and stating in the survey that we conduct that they're unemployed. And I'm going to look at that a little bit down the road here. Not in the labor force, given up, and what I did was I calculated. The Department of Economic and Community Development in Tennessee has come out with a report, and it's a report on automation and what types of jobs are going to go away due to automation. Which types of jobs, they call it vulnerable. They have a vulnerability index. So I calculated the vulnerability index for County Commission District 7. And what I see is that you have a lot of sales and related occupations, 77%. That's now 77% of sales and related occupations are vulnerable to automation. And we know what that looks like when you talk about things like Amazon, I guess, or, you know, more where we're phoning up, or we're typing in on the internet, and we get delivery to our doorstep, but maybe that a local store, a local shop goes out of business because of that. That's because of automation. I have never seen the inside of Amazon. I have seen it on, for instance, you can go on the internet and see what the inside of that looks like. Very, very automated. and has likely put a lot of sales type businesses out of business. Office and administrative support occupations, 66% of those jobs, and you have 3,701 of those jobs in your county commission district. So it's not insignificant. The other likely candidate in your area is production, transportation, and material moving occupations. Now, I don't know what that's about, and I don't believe this, but we keep hearing about driverless cars and driverless trucks. I don't know if that's what that's about. But production, material moving types of things, we've got robots that can do somersaults now. So it's kind of an interesting new age that we're coming up against, and many of the people that might be more vulnerable than others for losing that gainful employment that they had previously due to automation. The next thing I had was housing. And if you think about it, all this is kind of tied in together. Raising a family, figuring out how to earn an income, how to pay the mortgage every month. I'll bet any one of you have had difficulty at one time or another in terms of an illness or something that put a crunch on your income. And maybe you were able to rebound, but for some people that rebounding isn't as easy as for others. And again, with this, I'm preaching this all the time about this vulnerability index, how things are going to change. And if you don't believe it, my God, I remember, I remember the dial phone. Where I live, we had a party line, And when they said they were coming out with the iPhone, and I looked at that glass thing, I said, that's never going to sell. I mean, God, it's glass, you can drop it, it'll break, it looks so fragile, what could that thing possibly do? Well, here we go. So we have a brave new world coming up that ties into everything, even affordable housing. Your housing looks great here. You have new people moving in. I can't read my little tiny print here, but it's like, let's see, total occupied housing, 13,768. 13,768 occupied housing in 2011, according to the census. In 2017, 19,737. You are a growing area. How is that growth happening? Well, what was interesting was in these little census tracts that break up your county commission district 7, I looked at the area, for instance, of Apposon. Apposon is not thriving as well as other areas. I looked at median income changes over time, and it's minus 2,551. Their median income level is going down from 2011 to 2016. Tells you that maybe those are the locations of people where workforce development is needed because they're employed in those areas that are being taken over by, I don't know, maybe a robot, or is moving out to Minneapolis, or, something is happening in that area that is depressing that area. Also, those areas that are close to Georgia, and I always get east and west mixed up. Western part of your district to the south, that's an area that's struggling as well. But then you've got a couple of areas that's like towards the north, a little bit east of Ooltewah, and then in the very center of your county commission district, and things are really going wild, plus $13,486 in terms of median income, meaning 50 cents, that's just the change from one point in time to another. I didn't put what that median income was, which I should have done. Or I have it in tiny, tiny things here and I can't see it. But anyway, so there's a difference. Although it looks unified, when you look at all of the statistics, compile it, it looks like everything's great. It looks like you have a little bit of polarity going on, where some people are not doing as well and some people are doing great. I don't know who's moving into that center area, but it appears that you have some very high-end homes or people that have the means to buy them, or maybe it has something to do with the company that's moved here or some business. I'm not sure. That would take a little more digging in. But the point is is that although things look great in some places, there are other places that maybe need some attention in terms of what is happening. And really, that's how I wrap it up. I think that we need to be proactive in understanding the future anymore. I've been around long enough that I know things change rapidly. They have for me, that we need to be adaptable. You folks, you know, your leaders in the community, to bring awarenesses to your elected officials, or communicate with your United Way about we have issues in this county, what can we do about it, volunteerism, but figuring out where those, I guess they would call them soft spots are, you know, those places that are struggling, maybe the mom with the child, or maybe, you know, we have men too that are single parent families, you know, so mentoring, or is it the schools, are the schools doing well? There is so much information. This is 22 slides, and it doesn't nearly capture what it is that your community is. The other thing is I want to say is that these are demographics, and I enjoy sharing with people, maybe sitting down, if you want to, you know, meet again and with a small group, or, you know, you say, I have a question. We spent, I think it was 4 days pulling this little 22 slide thing together, you know, and I think sometimes we present and people are enchanted with the colors, the bar charts, and, you know, and the maps. I do great maps, and but there's supposed to be a point of departure. What can we do? You know, how can we be helpful in our community? Maybe we think that there are no problems whatsoever. Well, there are. You know, there's struggles going on. There's struggles right in this room going on. You know, things that we can do to support one another. I think that in the third world countries that my husband and I have been in, you know, it seems as though people, they have so little that they have to come together, and they do, you know, and they work so hard, and there's so much power in that. So my message is that all these things are connected. You know, we have housing, we have jobs, we have changes coming up, we have vulnerable people, we have elderly moving in. Elderly, I'm 69, I'm gonna be 69 years old. I'm elderly, you know, and my husband's 82, you know. So, you know, but what we can do for each other, I think that's the United and United Way, and what we hope to facilitate. Take the information, ask more questions, say that I think you got it wrong here, or could you look into this a little bit deeper, because I know someone in this area that's having difficulty, and I wonder if this is something that's going on that, you know, I might learn more about so I can be helpful. So anyway, we're leaving our cards. Please consider yourselves an incredible resource in this beautiful world of, you know, two hands and the brains that we have, and what we can do in our community.
Dr. Rayberg, I have one question.
Sure.
First of all, in all the research that you've done on County District 4 and County 7, where can we get a copy of this on the internet? Can it be sent
I'll
as a
send it to
PDF
you.
format?
Yeah.
And how can they reach you?
My cards are right there, and you can reach just through United Way, but also, she didn't bring enough cards, so I've got plenty right there. Just contact me too.
And my follow-up question is for Dr. Rayberg, if I can. In District 4, we're dealing with right now, I'm chairman of Planning and Zoning Committee for the city, which puts me on the Hamilton County Chattanooga Planning Commission as well. And one of the things that we are looking at in District 4 quite a bit is a change or an influx of renters and developers wanting to build more apartments and rental versus home ownership. It's a bit of a struggle at times with residents who feel home ownership is more of the area land use. And I was wondering if you've had your thoughts. I was looking at your chart, and percent rental you have at 34% in 2013, and in the next column it says 2917, but I'm assuming that's 2017 in your column.
Sorry. Yeah.
But your numbers don't change a bit,
Yeah.
and I'm finding that a little bit perplexing, knowing what I know about zoning changes
Sure.
and the influx of rental
I can
units.
address that.
Sure.
Yeah, and in City Council District 4, it was maintaining, I think, at 34%. It stayed the same. and you were doing better. There's apparently some building going on or something going on here that's outside of the city. Now, what I've done is, and if anybody can get a hold of this for me, I've done property parcel analysis for Area 3. Area 3 is, I think, they feel the most threatened right now. And you're right, to be proactive about this. If you can get me the Hamilton County property parcel, I've had the City of Chattanooga property parcel data because it's on the open data portal. Hamilton County property parcel is, data is a cost that we can't afford to, I think it's $2,500. We don't have the funds for it. So if we could get a hold of that, I could do an analysis for you of who owns what. And also an analysis of where homeowners are, where renters are, where the undeveloped lands are. We've done snapshots for different neighborhoods, and what has happened is, particularly in Area 3, it's catalyzed this leadership that was in Area 3 that didn't have the information that they needed to talk about their communities and identify those locations that were under siege, so to speak, according to them. So if you can get me, I could do an analysis. I can do for the City Council District 4. I can do something with that because. But if you got me that other property parcel, I could give you the information. I think this is
more about that.
Yeah, I think this is an opportune time because I think things are popping now. You know.
But we're fast growing.
Yeah.
Popping's a good word.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch the boundaries of this district shrink like this.
Yeah,
pretty
well,
soon.
yeah, it's time to be proactive, and because that time's going to go away. You know, where it's not going to matter what you do. So
Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for that presentation. If you need to find more information, there are cards up
We've got-
here,
yeah.
and you can get the PDF formatted. Thank you so much for
And
that.
please, if you have the survey, leave it. This is how we determine how we fund. The resources are shrinking everywhere, so people that do need help, we're looking very carefully at those areas of need. So when you look at areas of where there might be women and children that are struggling, or areas where there needs to be more youth development, or areas where workforce development is needed, we are working with lots and lots of groups to try to get more resources into all the areas. We want to address each neighborhood. So it's important also from the social service area to, if you'll give us information of what you want to see on that survey, we are taking that and looking at it collectively. And I know we're working with a lot of other groups that are looking very closely at resources and how we make sure that it gets to the people that need it the most. So there's a lot of information, lots to look at. Please don't let it overwhelm you. And if you have a question, that'll ask another question, and that ends up on another question. But we love that. We really want to make sure that we answer your questions.
Does anyone else have any questions?
Any more specific data?
You might need some time to digest.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot.
A lot of
Thank you.
great facts.
But it,